So the idea of unplugging the opinion projectors is actually really simple. And the way to start, I think, this is to discuss why. So why do you need to unplug the opinion projectors and what are they? And how do you notice when this is happening to you? The reason that I unplug the opinion projectors is because no one knows the right answer for me. And if I listen to people in the way that I was listening to them, I get derailed. I go in the wrong direction. What is an opinion projector? It's a social media influencer typically that has figured out an approach that gets them attention so they can become popular. That doesn't mean they know anything. It just means they're popular. So I look at Ty Lopez, Dan Locke, Justin Welsh. I look at um, who else? Grant Cardone. I could go on and on. The new one is Laura Costa on LinkedIn. And I look, I'm like, oh, you're popular. Congratulations. And they did something to become popular and they're good at it. So they're good at becoming popular. How'd they do it? Is marketing. What is marketing? Convincing you I'm popular, getting you to see that I have an answer for you. That's what marketing is. So I got a box of, it goes way back, like go back to the 1950s, 1960s, Leo Burnett. Hey, look what I got. I got a box of sugary cereal with a Tony the Tiger on it. It's great. You want it? Well, no, mom doesn't want it. How do you get the kid to say, Mom, buy this for me or I'm going to cry? That's what they did. They created a character. They figured it out. It works. Those are the opinion projectors and they're everywhere. And I'm looking around in 2019 and I'm like, where the hell did these people come from? I never even heard of this before. It's insane. So marketing went from sugary cereal boxes into how do I improve my life? Coaching and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I didn't understand it for a couple of years because I got sucked up in it. 150 grand sucked up, paid to these people. And there's nothing wrong with them. I'm not talking about they're bad. That's got nothing to do with it. It's that for me, they're wrong. It's not real. So it is impossible for somebody to know the answer for me and you because it's not how it works. Life is not like that. The people who've succeeded and have constructed an edifice of I know and are using persuasion marketing approaches to convince you they know for you are lying to themselves most of the time. Sometimes they're just lying, but I think most of these people are just lying to themselves because they are believing in their own success. Have you noticed? We have people in our society that when they succeed, all of a sudden they become a pundit on everything. Everything. And I listen to them and I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, except how to become popular. That you could teach me how to become popular, but I don't want to be popular. I want to make a ton of money. I want to be happy, freedom, satisfaction, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How I get there is my business, not yours, because you don't know. How could you know? You're not me. This is the problem. So I think there's two sides of it. One is unplug the opinion projectors. Second, become a liberation mechanic yourself. This is what I did. So I unplugged them a couple of years ago. And I thought, I'm not listening to these people anymore. They don't know what they're doing. I'm listening to, people who don't know how to live tell me how to live. And I look at them and I'm like, you don't know what you're doing. Your life is not what I want. Sure, you got a ton of money and you're popular, but no, thank you. How do I unplug them when they think they know the answer is simple. Now, I went away and came back. So I thought, I not only want to unplug them, now I want to offer an alternative. And that became the 2-year project that led to Entrepreneur Experience Campus, brought to you by Red Pill Pathway. And I thought, what is another way to do this? There's got to be another way to do this than this middle school popularity contest. I don't want their life. I don't want to be like them. I don't want to listen to them anymore. And I know it's bullshit. Um, okay, then what? So there's two sides of it. One side is unplugging. The other side is plugging in something new. To plug in something new, I found I had to unplug something old. The question became, why am I following these people? What is it about me where I got seduced, where I believed in the lies? What are the lies? The idea that someone knows for me what I can do to be successful and that knows a lot about life because they've become popular. That's a lie. It's not real at all. That hierarchy is not real. I know that. I can see through it. And I have since I was 5 years old. So I'm not confused. But I was swayed and seduced. And then I'm trolling people actually because I'm getting mad. I'm like, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about. And you're talking and talking and talking and talking every day. And you're running it through a marketing lens of persuasion. And you know it's bullshit, but you know, well, I got to have a hook. Well, of course you have to get known. It's not an alternative of hide in the cave and hope people give you money. No. So I had to get back in the world and say, okay, I've unplugged long enough. Now all I have to do is figure out what's the alternative. How do you do that? Well, I used experimentation. The first part is, why did I believe this? Fear. I thought, fear of what? Running out of money. That was the fear. The fear was first running out of money. The second fear was doing things I didn't want to do to get money. In other words, compromise. Not even on my values. I'm not even talking about compromising on values. I'm never compromised on my values, but compromising on my activities and actions. If I don't want to network, I don't network. If I don't want to do social media, I don't do social media. If I don't want to chase after clients, do marketing, or follow any of those playbooks, I don't. If I do, I do. That's simple. And not easy, but simple is the opt out and recognition after I've opted out of why did I opt in? In other words, why did I believe things that weren't true? The mind is attacking my mind is attacking me constantly. This is how I found my mind works. And I think I'm not the only one. So my mind is telling me I need that buy it because I don't know and they do. Why? There's a book by Robert Cialdini. He's a marketing professor at Arizona State. It's in the book. I don't have to tell you, just buy the book. It's called Influence. The whole playbook is right in there. It's what they're doing. And then they've honed it from selling sugary cereal and late night TV stuff from Dan Kennedy. And I'm like, yeah, that's all bullshit. I know that. Most of us do. Why do we believe it though? Because of what's in the book. Our mind can be persuaded. And it's persuaded in a hypnotic way. So I'm like, why am I hypnotized by the lie that I need them and the approaches they're selling me to make money and succeed as an entrepreneur? Bootstrapped variety without taking money from people. If I take money from people, you're not an entrepreneur anymore in a way because they own you. You're an entrepreneur, but you work for the man or woman. You work for the machine. I call them bots, financial bots that fund these companies. Now they've taken over. You work for them if you're an entrepreneur. You take some people have to because it costs a lot of money to scale software. But for me, I've done it bootstrapping it, and I've figured out ways to do it where I don't have to take money. but it's risky. Being an entrepreneur is risky. You have to take the risk. The risk is following. If I do what these people suggest, I'm going to fail because I'm not going to want it. Because then I'm going to have to keep doing the things they taught me to do that I don't want to do. That's never going to work. So what's the alternative? What's the alternative is first not believing the stories I've told myself about myself. The primary story for me is inadequacy, which is ridiculous. It's a false belief I took on that I'm inadequate to get everything I want in my life. That's not true. I'm not only more than adequate, I'm super adequate. Why did I believe I'm inadequate? It doesn't matter. What matters is I believed it. And I allowed, because of my own feeling of inadequacy, of, oh my God, this might not work. What if I run out of money? Or what if people don't like me and buy my stuff? Or what if I'm doing it wrong? They must know because they have all this money and success. So that inadequacy allowed me to be persuaded by them, which is what they're deliberately doing, hypnotizing me. That's what it is. It's marketing hypnosis to get me to buy things and think I need things that I don't need or want. Releasing myself from the belief that I was inadequate required feeling inadequate. So I allowed myself to feel inadequate and then look at that belief system and start unraveling it one strand at a time. How do you do that? You look at it directly and then jump into the fire. The pathway to liberation, I found, for me at least, and I think other people, because these things kind of work the same, is to go through my biggest fear, not around it, through my biggest fear. What was my biggest fear? Losing everything. I got a couple million in IRAs. I've got a house worth $1 million. I've got a business that we could sell for a few $1 million in a few years, and there's no investors in it. So I split it with a guy who's running it for me now, so I don't have to be in it, working it for 4 years. I got all that. It's not enough. I'd have to sell my house. I'd have to downsize my life. Uh, I've got a lot of bills for this. I could, but I don't want to. I don't want to leave our community. So now we have a bind. So the bind is I'm taking a huge risk and I'm old. If I was 24, it would be totally, I did these risks when I was 24, but it's totally different. Totally different. When you're old and you got overhead and debt, I don't have a ton of debt. Well, I got debt, but I don't have credit card debt at least. But I'm taking a huge risk to do something that I must do because I care about it. And I won't compromise on it. There's easier ways I could have picked to make money, but I can't do it anymore because I don't want to. And I follow that. That's the lesson. The lesson is I ran into the fear. And it was hard because, people are telling me, you can't explain what you do. It's too complicated. You need to have like an elite group. You need to go to these high-end networking groups. I'm like, fuck that stuff. I don't want to do it. I tried it and I don't like it. It's not for me. So I stopped listening to other people and I stopped taking meetings and I stopped going to networking events even. I've been doing that stuff my whole life and I have nothing against it. I think it's useful. Having a good connect method, I call it, is very useful. But I'm like, I'm not doing this right now because I have to figure out my own way. I stopped wasting money on coaches. The last one was February of 2023, and it was a huge waste of money with two coaches that did not know what I was going through at all. They had no idea and no understanding of how to help me. And that's, 8, 10 grand out the door, which mattered at that time. Still does. But what can I do? The lesson was don't do it again. What I found worked was what I have. So I'm going to go into my sales pitch, which isn't a sales pitch. It's an experience sharing story about an alternative approach to getting what you want, which is don't copy me. There is no cash register at the end of my funnel. None. You could pay me though, and I hope you will, or not, depending on what's right for you. Either way, we all win. My goal over the last 2 years was to eliminate all friction caused by division between you and me. The division is what? I'm on Social Media Mountain. I'm convincing you I have what you need using marketing approaches through persuasion, hypnotizing you, bringing you into my funnel, getting your credit, whatever, whatever method you take. There's millions of them. They're all the same, essentially. They're divisive. There's a hierarchy. I'm at the top. Now you give me the money and I'll give you what you want. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Some people do. Then do it. I don't want to do that anymore. What's the alternative? The alternative is be in a market, know the market really well. That I do. I've always worked that way. Have a good product, obsess about the product. That's what I've always done too. Ask people what's going on with them. Ask myself what's going on with me to make sure I'm not going in the wrong direction all the time. Adjust as needed. Other people are like, why you keep pivoting? I'm confused. I'm like, I haven't pivoted once in my entire life. Never. I've never pivoted. I adjust based on what I notice. Pivoting is when the investor says, this isn't working for me. I need you to go another direction. I usually quit when I have a boss that does that to me. When I work for other people in sales or business development, I usually quit at that moment. Or I have one foot out the door. I'm looking for what's next when that happens. I adjust, and I did a lot. And people were like, well, it's not working, is it? I'm like, yeah, it's working. You just can't see it, but I can. I'm listening to myself. And then shared desire in a market means let other people come together with me by getting there themselves. So I don't have to convince anybody of anything, because if I do, I'm dividing myself from them. And then I'm attracting people I don't want to be around in the first place. It's easier if you're great at marketing to build revenue quickly, or is it? I don't think it is. I look at people who've succeeded, a lot of these social media influencers. They paid a marketing company, and it took them a few years. They didn't do it themselves. Plus, they did it when it was easier. Things have changed. It's harder now. So it's even a bigger lie. The lie got bigger because now we're in an environment where very few are going to win this popularity contest. It's too competitive. So don't compete. That's the alternative. So I created a structure where there is no cash register at the end. You can pay me money though. What do I mean by that? To eliminate sales friction or having to convince people to move forward with persuasion through a marketing funnel, I came up with the idea of a guest pass, 7-day guest pass. The product is no longer about me. That was key. I was looking at what are people doing that's really working, and they're doing things together. There's a great marketer, real deal, that I've been following this guy for like 8 years, and he created, not Seth Godin. Seth Godin's also amazing. So he has the alt MBA. This guy has now like corporate digital marketing MBA, and he brought in a whole team of people to teach it with him. I'm like, aha, got it. He succeeded immediately. Why? Because he's great at marketing. I'm not. I get it though. I've sold it. So I'm an expert. I could teach a marketing MBA course, but I don't want to do it. He does, and he's great at it. I can't remember his name right now, or I would give him credit, but this guy's amazing. I've been following him for years. He's the one who's responsible for Drift. If you remember Drift, it's just a chat bot. And they created a whole new category called conversational marketing. I saw this years ago, and I'm like, wow, that was genius. And it worked. So the marketing playbook's not all bad. It's not about bad or good. It's like the way he does it is like, it's to me, it's impressive. It's not persuasion at all. It's the opposite. It's not late night TV bullshit and selling, stuff people don't need. This is a real product. It's high quality. It's not shit. It's a real high quality product. This is not a Grant Cardone 10X book or Russell Brunson book or Alex Hormozy. I'm rewriting all those. I got to prove it to you that I know what I'm doing. I'm rewriting their books on Substack because I have an alternative approach to what all these people's books are now. Not this guy from Drift. That he's a genius. It's incredible what he's done. So I don't want to get too adrift here. Drift. Sorry. So I'm looking at what he's doing and I'm like, well, who else is doing this? I see a lot of people doing this. There's a guy named Richard Moore who I was in he's actually really good. And I was in his pilot. It was only $1,000 for like a year. It's more now, where he brought together people to co-teach a thing on sales, art of selling. And I'm like, exactly. This is where it's going. So I thought, how do I innovate in that in a different way? And that is where we came up with the founding member approach. So I have 12 people and then me, one more to go, that have committed weekly to teach a session on an ongoing basis. So it's not about me, it's everything. And we have that page up now. It's still not completely finished. The technology is brutal, folks. Redpillpathway.com/events. And it's not all done, but you can start to see what's going on. Claim a guest pass for 7 days and you can go in 7 days. We did 7 instead of 5 days. So if you start like on Thursday, you can cycle through the full week you can go to everything and decide if you get a benefit out of it. You will. It is impossible not to get a benefit with what I've created if you come. It is impossible. It's that good. I know it. It's amazing what we've created. It's not me. It's all of us who've created over 2 years, beta test and then a pilot. And then like, oh no, what is this? And then getting there and then making it understandable and then creating a technology platform where I don't have to explain it because you can't. So it's like, you have to come. There's no other way to explain this. There's no risk. 7 days. Hang out with us. That's all. What's at the end of it? There's no cash register. There's choices. One choice is don't pay anything. Use what you got for 7 days and go make money. Oh, by the way, I can help you do that too. redpillpathway.com/partner, founding partner. That's a way you can make money and you don't have to pay me anything. You can't come to all my stuff after 7 days. Fair enough, right? If you're good, you can go to any of our founding members, including me, and say, I want to do a partner product with you. So we're going to have workshops, 8-week workshops, and everybody gets the 12 months. This is an amazing offer for the market. I don't have to use marketing to persuade people because they can come in and see it. And there's options. So you don't have to pay. So you don't feel like, oh, this guy's doing one of these. I've been to a lot of them. You go in the room and all their clients are there talking about their social proof of how great it was. And there was one guy who did this to me and I'm like, I know this is bullshit, but I want to buy it. And that was one of those tipping point moments, this thing called Group Coaching Nation. And I'm like, this is not going to work. I know it's not going to work. It's old. It's not an approach that works today. It used to work. I like this guy a lot. I like these people a lot. I'm not doing it. And I almost did it. I almost paid. It's that persuasive. When you're feeling bad, like I was at that moment, when I was looking for help, I almost bought because the social proof was so powerful in that room. Free event with tons of social proof layered in to get the checkout at the end using scarcity and urgency approaches. Ethically, of course. I'm like, no, I'm out. So what do I have? You can join for 12 months. You can do a workshop. That'll save you some money. You can pay for that stuff. If you want to do a joint product with somebody, you don't pay. You can't come though. after 7 days, but you can come, you're giving up 8 hours to make potentially 30, 40 grand or more. If you do it on an ongoing basis, I think it could be a $300,000-$400,000 business at a 90% net profit margin or more, because we'll do it for you. I built the structure for this. It's not all available to see yet. That's coming in the next week or two, though. It takes 5 years to do something big that's new, at least. Russell Brunson, these people are incredible. That's the thing. I don't. People think I'm attacking them. I'm not. I think they're amazing. I just think that in some areas they don't know what they're doing. They know what they know, but because of the way the society is structured, people think they know more than they know because they succeeded, and that seduces them to think that too. This is what's happening. They're not bad. It's amazing, their stories. They're like me. I do the hardest thing. I've been like that since I was 5 years old. I look at Alex Hormozi sleeping on gym floors, and I'm like, man, I rolled rolling racks of clothes through convention centers, airports. I sold business insurance door to door for a year when I was 40 years old. Not easy. So I admire these people. I just think what they're selling is bullshit. That's the problem. And people believe them. So I'm going to market against them. That's why I'm in their feeds sharing my stuff and promoting our founding members, because I'm like, I have an alternative. You want it? Where'd I get this idea from? There's a book called Positioning, Trout and Rice. They're using this stuff too. So I feel like I can use it. Like, I'm going to show you how to use it. So I'm going to show the marketers how to use marketing in an alternative way. How fun is that? It's called beating someone at their own game. But I'm not playing a game to win. I'm playing a game to get freedom, satisfaction, happiness, and results on my own terms. So I don't run out of money. I get to live in my house, and I get to make a shit ton of money and hang out with people I want to be with. How good is that? You want to be a part of it. Anybody can be a part of it. I want your before story, not just your after story. This is what's different about what I'm doing too, is I'm not just taking an after story. There is no private, secret, inner circle mastermind room. We don't have one. You get everything. Now you got to pay for the workshops. That's $8,500 a year, but you get the $2,750 annual membership with the member sessions. And there's more than that. You'll see when I get the website finished with the campus tab at the top. And no one will tell you what to do. And it won't be my playbook. I have a lot of playbooks, detailed ones, and courses and all that stuff. But no one's going to tell you what to do. We're going to point you in different directions. You may never even want to talk to me. You may like hanging out with Darren Gibb or Jamal Marshall or Matt Bigger or Maria Platusik or one of our other founding members. Maybe you're here for that. And you're like, I hate this guy, Larry. He's an asshole. Fine. Don't come to my stuff. Go to their stuff. We all make money either way, including you. This is a traction system that's designed to help people find their own way forward, run into their fear, and come out the other side with a massive vision as it expands on their own terms, in their own way, defining it for themselves, coming up with their own product approach, their own connect strategy, their own way of engaging the market and doing whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. You want to be a top marketer? We'll help you. I know how to do it. I don't teach it though. But the approaches that we've got will help you do that better, even if you want to run the Russell Brunson playbook stuff and the Dan Kennedy stuff. And you're like, nope, Larry, I love it. I'm going to do it. Like, okay. Matt Bigger knows how to succeed on YouTube. You want to succeed on YouTube? We got that. This is called a no-brainer. I hope you're understanding that if you're listening to this.